What's going on, everybody? Welcome to season two, episode 25 of the main stand. We have got a good one for you. Most notably, I think the thing that's probably been at the top of the footballing world for the past couple of days has been the Manchester City charges by the Premier League. And I think we're just going to tuck right into that at the start of this episode, me being the resident City supporter. Uh, I've got some talking to do. I obviously have my own opinions, my own thoughts on the whole subject. I think for me, logically, the way to do this is break down the charges, get Mitch and Josh's 2 cents about the whole situation, give my 2 cents on the entire thing, and then kind of like some closing remarks, and then maybe I'll put my sky blue painted tinfoil hat on for a couple of minutes at the end. Um,
Let's
so
do it.
we'll start with the overall what are the charges. So the Premier League have charged City with 115 different breaches of their more or less like their financial code of conduct. You can like I'm not a legal or financial expert by any means. I had to Google the Premier League rules PDF just like everybody else did when those charges came out, and kind of do my best to decipher them as I went through it. So this is just my understanding of it, and I'm going to try to provide a little bit of context for that. So basically, the Premier League are saying that for the course or over the course of the last 9-ish years, City have been dishonest with their financial reporting to the Premier League. They're basically more or less saying you guys, you cooked the books. Essentially, they're saying you lied about sponsorships, you lied about contracts, everything that your CEOs and your financial team and your advisors have been signing off on and reporting to us over the last 9 years is all a lie. You've been backdooring money, you've been disguising sponsorships as X, Y, and Z. And yeah, so over the course of 9 years, I think it's like 2011, 2013 or 12 to now, or last year before. The charges aren't 2023. I think it's like 2010 or 2011 to 2020, 2021. Um, yeah, there's all those charges against that. There's a broad range of them. Um, I don't, off the top of my head, know every single rule in the Premier League book. Essentially, I would love to kind of have that for you all, but I just don't. I don't understand them that much. I know a lot of it has to do with W82.1 is where it starts, and then all the other rules fall underneath that breach. What I will say is we know there's going to be a private hearing. Then none of this is going to be public, which is also kind of getting um, a lot of media attention. The fact that a lot of this is going to be done behind closed doors. There's not going to be reporters allowed. There's not going to be the public allowed. It's just going to be a behind closed doors trial. Um, More or less, my understanding is the trial is going to be the city is going to give all of the relevant documents needed to the Premier League that both helps and hurts their case. It's just everything that's required to be presented for this trial. And then the Premier League is going to do the same for City. They're going to examine the documents. They're both going to create their cases, and it's going to go to court. Or not court. It's going to go before an independent panel, one of which needs to be a legal or financial expert, and then there's two other members of this independent panel. Um, After the verdict, this is a thing that has been kind of like a misconception I think I've seen on social media is that City or the Premier League won't be able to appeal the decision, and that's incorrect. They can't appeal it. They just can't appeal it to like a third party, like an outside source, like how in the UEFA
Yeah.
investigation, City said, "We're not going to do your independent investigation. We'll just see you in court." And then they went to CAS, the Court of or Court of Arbitration of
Yeah.
Sport, or something like that, whatever the acronym stands for. They went to CAS instead of doing the UEFA independent investigation. That can't happen here, but they can reappeal the verdict. So can the Premier League, and then a new independent panel will be assembled. Documents will be sent once again back and forth, and then another retrial can happen. So that's more or less like the broad overview of the trial. Um, Before I dive into like the city side of things, Josh, Mitch, your thoughts when it all came out, banter aside, your thoughts when it all came out. How do you guys feel about the whole case? Do you think City are absolutely rocked? How do you guys see this going down? Do you think it'll be done and dusted? Do you think it'll be really quick? I think it's going to go on for a couple of years before we finally get a verdict for this whole thing. But just get your guys' 2 cents in before I continue to talk here.
Do you think it's I saw a couple kind of people talking about this. Do you think it'd be in City's best interest to ride this out and really stick to their guns, or maybe take like a plea deal beforehand? If that was an option, would you take it?
No, I think they should ride it out and stick to their guns,
Okay.
and I'll
Okay.
explain why at the end. But I think that it's the worst thing that can happen is already been presented to them, and the best case scenario is City completely clear their name from all of these financial doping allegations. And if City are as confident internally as reports suggest, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't take this to court and officially kind of put a rest to it. People can have their say and have their opinions, but if the court of law says they're innocent, and they can kind of clear themselves of all these financial allegations and all of this like hearsay about the investment that's in the club, I don't see why they wouldn't.
I do think City's guilty. Even joking aside, I think they're guilty. I think it's clear that they've cheated or done some shady numbers. With that being said, I'm not going to be the one that sits here and says like Liverpool deserves titles as a result of this. I think that's a little bit like, you had the players on the field. It is what it is. We kind of just, if there's any punishments that can be made as a result of it, I'd love to see those happen if it's true. But I do think there was shady shit going on. I mean, I think there's enough people that have gone at City in the past, and I get there's like reasons for them to do so, which you're probably going to bring up here, later when you put the City hat on a little bit, which is fair on your part because you've had to deal with it for a while. But I do think the amount of investment in that club, I think especially the stuff that's shady is like the commercial revenue, like how much that has increased, and you're basically claiming that you have more commercial revenue than Liverpool and Manchester United, which I think is an outrageous comment that I'd love to see them try to back up the numbers for it, because they have the best people, at their hands in terms of like, if they did need to fudge up some numbers, they have the guys to do it. So it's going to be an all-time battle in court, and like you said, I think it's going to be a long, drawn-out process that we might not see the result of for years to come. But
obviously, we're not talking about on the field things. So at the end of the day, this comes down to ownership running a business a specific way to gain a statistic advantage on the other end. I think we see it a lot in sports. I don't think this is something new. I think it's good to have a legal process in place and followed out. And I hope that, we joke about it enough, and we've joked about it for a decade or more. There's got to be some truth to it if it's holding for that long. One or two jabs and it's water under the bridge, but we're a decade into City claiming these record-breaking numbers, and obviously you see a huge shift in the quality of play over the last 10 years. So it's worth looking into, and I'm interested to see how it plays out. I personally think they're guilty as well.
Well, and also, like, let's not pretend like it's not impossible they cheated either, because like
right.
Juventus did the same thing. They cooked the books multiple times. After getting relegated to Serie C, they just got caught again, 15-point deduction. So people at this level of sport, especially football in Europe, are totally capable of this, and it'd be naive to think that people at clubs wouldn't do this to their advantage.
Right.
Mhm. I do think that there's certainly some truth in some of the claims. I think the Mancini contract stuff from 2012 is a little damning. I do think will City will get rocked for that one. That just seems like it's true. Unfortunately, I
Can
do
I
think that
add
there
something in
was
really quick, Pat, and I'll let you finish? I
yeah.
do want to I kind of just slam City. I do think Pep is clear of all this. I don't think anyone internally, Pep and his team included, knew anything if there was shady stuff going on.
This is a really strict Astros Alex Cora situation, if you ask me.
Yeah. I
It's
would agree.
very
I just had to
similar.
get that in because I wanted Pat to know that I'm not against Pep.
Yeah.
Just City as an institution in its whole. Yeah, I
Yeah,
understand.
pretty. I mean, I like Pep.
Um, uh, yeah, and I do think that the Mancini stuff is a little damning. I think it's going to be really tough to clear that one. Ironically enough, somebody I never would have thought went to bat for City, or I would see go to bat for City, went to bat for City in an interview. Yaya Touré's agent cleared the air that he and Yaya Touré never received any illegal payments from City, which is hilarious if you think about Yaya's relationship with the club in the last couple of years and how Seluk felt as a whole about the organization and about Guardiola. I do think that's very funny. But yeah, so now to maybe not put the blue hat on, but to give the City side of things a little perspective from the fan side, a perspective that maybe you don't necessarily see, not being a fan of the club or not reading the whole picture or the meme. A lot of people like to read meme headlines and think they have an understanding of what's going on. I did enough of my due diligence to give another side of the coin with this whole thing. So City are confident. Reports from Sam Lee, who's an athletic reporter, definitely in terms of stuff relating to City, he's the number one guy. City are not panicking internally. There are no fires being put out. They are not worried at all. And it's a similar mood to the UEFA case. They're confident that they're going to come out on top of this thing and officially clear their name. And to just draw some parallels to the UEFA case, this is exactly what UEFA brought to the table in their first investigation, which was taken to CAS, and we won. And the exact thing from that here, let me, I have it on my phone so I can read the exact statement from CAS. So we're all on the same page here. So section J 289, conclusion. In view of all of the above, there is no doubt that Etihad fully complied with its payment obligations toward MCFC and that MCFC rendered the contractually agreed services to Etihad in return. The majority of the panel finds that Etihad sponsorship agreements are presumed to be negotiated at fair value and that MCFC, HHSM, AUDG, and Etihad are considered not to be related parties. The Etihad sponsorship agreements were legally binding contract. There is no evidence that agreements were backdated or that MCFC otherwise retrospectively tried to cover up any alleged violations following the publication of the leaked emails in reference to the Der Spiegel case, which kind of set this chain in motion. And yeah, so a three-man independent panel all cleared City. One of the members of that independent panel was chosen by UEFA. The panel said City were not guilty of this thing that the Premier League were or are currently now accusing them of. So that gives me a little bit of confidence that City are either unbelievably rich and can pay off an entire independent sporting panel, or they are actually running a good business and the numbers are just true. The second thing that I do just want to bring up here is that a lot of the evidence that is being presented by the Premier League is coming from the Der Spiegel leaks, which were illegally obtained documents, done by hacking City's, communications. Those don't hold up particularly well in a court of law if you really think about it. You got your evidence illegally. And yeah, I think that this is going to be City's chance to really say that we're not cooking the books, we're legit, and you're just going to have to accept it.
Can I ask a question? You say CAS is not a court, but then you're using it as a court of law where there's only one person who is practiced in law on
Well,
this
it's
panel of three individual, quote unquote, private people.
right.
That's just sus to me. That's just that.
I mean, yeah, I would rather there were more people that were practiced in law. City don't pick the panel; the Premier League does. It's
I
in their
know.
rule book,
I
not
don't like that.
cities.
I'm
Yeah,
not saying that City's like putting that forward. I'm just saying I don't like that system, and I know that practices in an actual court of law differ very drastically in the UK than they do in the US.
well, I don't think
So
this is technically a like court of law. That was probably a little bit of a misspeak
so
on my part.
well that's something to be cognizant of when you're talking about referencing them being cleared in the past and they're using the same case and same information in a new case. So that could go against you if it's presented in a different manner now. They've had time to prepare. They have time to really pin City in a situation where they're looking at the information they have at hand now 3 years later. It may be three different people that haven't handled this case, whoever is appointing them.
Well, one of the people on the panel is a known Arsenal fan, which I'm not a super huge fan of either.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Not a
So,
super big fan of that.
so I don't think City are cut and dry the out of the shit yet.
Well, no, there's a whole legal process to go through for this whole thing, but I am confident in my club, and I don't think that they've done everything the wrong way. I think there's probably shady stuff that happened behind the scenes, just like there's probably shady stuff going on behind the scenes
Everywhere.
at Chelsea, just like there is shady stuff going on behind the scenes at Liverpool and United and Juventus and Barcelona and Real Madrid and all of these other top clubs. I don't think that any club in the world is completely free and clear of no financial tweaking or weird ways to approach players, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I will say, just, when you said they've had time to prepare this case, I actually think they are a little ill prepared. The first statement they put out, City had to contact them and tell them that the charges in the statement were not
wrong.
what they charged them with, and they had to redo the statement. So there's that. Also, and I'm going to put my blue tinfoil hat on right now, and I'm just going to preface that with this. It feels a little convenient that City are the only club of the top 6 clubs in England that are in favor of England's proposed white paper to put an independent regulator in football. Only club in favor of that. And then 3 days, or the same day that they announced that the white paper on independent regulation of sport for football in England is being delayed by 3 days. Now the Premier League decide to put out this statement and start investigating City and announce that they're making big on all these claims. To me, it feels a little bit like political posturing by the league to say, you don't need to police us. We can do it. And that's just my blue tinfoil hat on for just a second.
Fast forward 2 days and the Super League's back too. So
that's Real Madrid. We can talk about that after the City
we will,
stuff,
but I'm just saying there's a lot of political stuff going on in the game of football right now.
Well, no Premier League club can say yes to the Super League because of the agreement they signed after the original one was disbanded. If they say yes, they're never allowed in the Prem again.
Yeah, I mean, also the
maybe,
supporter groups.
Maybe Man City's saying yes and bowing out.
I don't think so. I think they'd rather be in the Premier League. They'll make more money in the Premier League.
Premier League is the Super League. We've talked about it.
Yeah. So here's my closing statement, and then we can move on, or Josh and Mitch can do whatever they want. And this is, in all seriousness, this is me being as neutral as I can about this whole situation. If City are guilty, they truly deserve whatever punishment that they received. If they cooked the books, if they legitimately cheated, in 115 of these counts, 100 except whatever. If they cheated, they deserve it. And as a fan of the club, I just have to kind of accept that and hope that we now moving forward do the right thing. But say what you want. The statement from CAS and the UEFA case is more or less the same exact thing that the Premier League is presenting, and they won that one. So I'm going to ride with the club that I chose to support, no matter what. If they get relegated to League Two, it'll be a lot cheaper to go see them, and Holland will score 700 goals, and that's that.
Josh, we going to the parade?
Yeah. The open top buses, baby.
The open top buses for a second Premier League title.
My guy Lucas Leiva on Twitter asking the public if he's a Premier League champion. I love that move. I don't know. We had to make this a little bit light at least. I mean, how many players do you think you'd lose, Pat, if you got relegated?
Fucking all of them, dude. It would be a youth team, and Vincent Kompany would be the manager. It would be
pretty funny. And
at least you got Rico Lewis.
Honestly,
Rico Lewis. We'd have Phil Foden still, I bet. Cole Palmer would finally get to start. We'd bring back Liam Delap. Kompany would come. The memes that came out of this, though, just to end it on, the memes that came out of this have been great.
Phenomenal.
Great.
Yeah.
Oh, my. I have been in tears. Like the Coach K going into the locker room meme. And the caption was Mancini walking back in the dressing room to replay that FA Cup final against Wigan from 2013. Dude, that shit is funny. And I like it's been a tumultuous time as a City fan, but I'm confident in my club, and I don't really think we cheated. I think we maybe did some underhanded stuff at the beginning of the time, but I think more or less we have been doing it correctly, since like 2012. Yeah, maybe the stuff with the Mancini is true, probably is true. That's a little unfortunate. We're gonna get a big fine for that. If we get deducted points, we get deducted points. But I think overall, City have been run 70% clean.
The meme, the classic Snapchat of Salo when he scored last year in the last game of the season, and it's like Mans thought he won the league.
Yeah,
and they put that on Aguero.
Yeah. No, and it's been funny. I've been laughing at all of them. They've been really good.
Besides the Aguero winning the league, Pat, I think for you as a City fan, I think you getting promoted would be a better moment than any of your league victories.
Nah,
for you as a fan, like like if you got relegated and then promoted, the fuck you, like we're back in the Prem, I think would be such a top tier fan moment for you.
He would be insufferable.
We're fucking back, baby, and then we're gonna win it on the crackback. We're gonna get back up. We're gonna pull a Juve and just win the league again.
You would be worse than if you won the league. It would be awful.
That would be all time. I wouldn't be able to be friends with him anymore.
Yeah, you would. Shut up.
Nah, I wouldn't be able to even look him in the face.
I think this whole thing is going to be interesting, and again, it's going to be a multi-year thing. People that are thinking it's going to be as quick as the Juve one, it's just not. I think this is going to go on for quite a long time. City are going to do everything they can to make sure that whatever the outcome is, it is like proven to every T is crossed, every I is dotted. City are going to make sure that no matter what the outcome is, it's the 100% correct one. They're going to do everything in their power to prove their innocence, and I'm going to back my club. I don't think we're guilty.
You need to start tipping extra at the zoo to get that ESPN Plus membership.
I already have it.
Bird, give me the Roku remote. I'm signing in.
It's too good to pass on.
Yeah, that's that. That's my 2 cents as a City fan, and I'm kind of expecting to get cooked on the socials for this when Josh inevitably just takes the 10 seconds of me saying City are not guilty and makes that the Instagram clip. But I'm ready for it. The engagement we got was good on the last one, so keep it coming. I can take it all.
I can't wait to revisit this take, regardless of how it turns out. I can't wait to see what Pat's opinion on the matter rests at.
Well, my opinion on the matter is, if we're guilty, we deserve it, and that's probably going to stay the same.
Like just I can't wait to see how you react after the verdict comes out.
I'm either going to be really, really sad, but equally excited that I'm going to get to see City, or I'm going to be insufferable for like a week.
Yeah.
Like, don't talk if you're talking about football with me for 7
Don't
days
do
after
it.
this verdict comes out and we're not guilty. Just don't.
We might
Just
need to
don't.
just we might need to just give Pat a full episode to himself in black and white. Just let him talk.
Yeah.
That'd be good. That's content, baby. And yeah, that's the city stuff. Do you guys want to take it out of bounds? Want to stay out of bounds? I guess that was like definitely a not on the pitch thing, but you want to stay out of bounds and tuck into these outside the lines topics that Josh has got down here for us?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
I also shout out my notes. I mislabeled my own segment.
Also,
Attaboy.
for those of you that didn't know, Josh sends over the notes ahead of time, and he saw that I was in the notes doc starting my notes for this segment. And before I could start typing, Josh, he typed up several things, knowing that they would piss me off. And I wonder if I can't go back and revert it to
I don't think
the
so.
old thing. But I join in, and he's typed Man City are cheaters. Thoughts on away at Charlton Athletic.
I wrote something about Lucas Leiva too.
Something about, is Lucas Leiva a Premier League champion? I think that was something about no trophies. And then something about when is the open top parade for Liverpool's 2 Premier League titles. So
Priorities.
Yeah. Okay. Out of bounds. We're gonna switch gears, go a little lighter here. Three pretty fun topics. Last one's a bit more serious, but this first one is fun because mentioned ChatGPT last week. It's just like the talk of the town, and I can't stop playing with it. Basically, I just ask it hypothetical questions most of the time, to which it can't answer. But I did ask it the best starting lineup in soccer of all time. So I thought we would have some discussion, some debate about this. I noticed some tactical flaws. First one, they picked Lev Yashin as the goalkeeper. You can't pick a guy wearing a hat from the 50s as your goalie. I'm sorry.
I mean, for me, it's Neuer. I think Neuer is the best goalie of all time. I disagree.
Really?
With ChatGPT.
I
think Neuer is the GOAT.
I would put Casillas in that list.
Probably Jersey Dudek for me.
Big Jers is on the list.
Kidding.
He's
Goalie
always
is a
on the
little bit of a
list.
tough one. They're a little bit generational. The guy that's so embarrassing I can't name it off the top of my head. The scorpion kick guy.
Higuita?
Yeah. The man. Defenders will go across the back line. Just a weird formation. I think this is right back. Paolo Maldini. For me, he's the best defender of all time. Franco Baresi, another AC Milan ledge.
Never watched him play.
Roberto Carlos. They have it as here Carlos Alberto Torres, which is super confusing. And then Cafu at right back. Well, they have a lot of right backs, I feel like. Maldini used to play right back. Yeah.
Maldini was a journeyman. He could play anything.
He could play anywhere. That's their back line.
That's a solid back line. You have Cafu with the pace.
My maybe controversial take, maybe this is like recency bias, or it'll date me to when I started watching football. I think you have to put Ramos back there.
Yeah, probably, as much as I hate him.
I think you have to.
Center back is tough, though, because there's a lot of good ones.
Yeah,
I think
but Ramos
is more of a generational pick, though.
He's got everything to back it up, though, man. He's got like 6 Champions Leagues. He's won a few La Ligas. He's got a World Cup. He's got a Euro. Highest scoring defender of all time, or center back of all time, or Champions League history, something like that. Does
he have the red card record
in La Liga? Yes.
Okay.
I think Ramos is, for me, the best center back I have ever seen play is Sergio Ramos.
On to the midfield. We have a midfield 4. Diego Maradona, undeniable.
Yep.
Michel Plantini.
French. I've never seen him play in my life.
Yeah, nope. More known for his corrupt roles in FIFA than anything else. Zinedine Zidane, another unarguable one, and Johan Cruyff. So
get Platini out of there for Iniesta, and I'll let it go.
And then up front we have Messi, Ronaldo, and Pele.
Which Ronaldo?
Cristiano. That's a good
All right,
question,
yeah.
though. I mean, without injuries, I think R9 is in there. I don't know if
Yeah,
he
but
gets in.
you look at the longevity factor and you look at, everything. Yeah, CR7 is he should be there. I'm just trolling.
So you know where the tactical flaw is in this whole formation, right?
There's no Joe Allen anywhere in the midfield.
Yeah, shout out Joe Allen, my man retiring, an absolute legend. No, they named a 12-man squad. They named a 4-4-3.
Oh shit, yeah, they did.
Four
Wait.
defenders, 4 midfielders, and the front 3. I thought that was funny that
Just
I
get
didn't
Platini out of the team and bam,
Yeah.
it's perfect.
I did
Get
think
him
it was
out.
pretty funny. Named a
That
12-man
is,
squad.
I didn't even catch that. I'm gonna be totally
I
honest.
didn't even think twice.
It was interesting. I was playing around. I was asking if Jurgen Klopp was going to get the sack.
He might.
Doesn't do well with hypothetical questions, though. So
Ugh.
anyway, that was a fun little couple minutes. Next outside or out of bounds topic. Messi's brother disrespects Barcelona. Came out in the tabloids with a statement saying that no one knew Barcelona before Messi, and no one cares after. He since came back and kind of corrected himself, saying Catalonia is his second home. But I did think it was pretty funny, and I kind of, Pat, as someone who is a La Liga watcher, how true do you think that statement is? Because I don't think it's like...
It's not. I don't think it's that true, all things considered. I mean, Barca were like one of the great, like legendary teams in the 90s, like those Cruyff teams. That they won before him. They won a Champions League a couple years before his debut. They won one with him in like 06, I think it was. I mean, they're top of La Liga now, so clearly they're finally getting on well without him. I mean, yeah, I think the statement that nobody cares about them after, it's not that nobody cares about them, but it's certainly like they lost a lot of those fans like me that only cared about Barcelona because Lionel Messi played for them. I have no reason to root for that club anymore now that Messi's not there. And I think that rings a little more true than the whole like nobody cares about them now thing. I just think they lost a lot of their like not neutral fans, but like the team Messi is no longer also team Barcelona.
Right.
And that fan base is rabid and insane.
Yeah. I don't know. I do see, I think from a club perspective, like how big the club is, I do think Messi had a lot to do with that in the 2000s.
Oh yeah, their modern success is 100%. It's Messi. They don't win nearly as much as they did in the most recent era, in the current era of football, if Messi wasn't at that club.
Yeah, I don't even know if what he's saying is like the performance bit. I think it's like I think he's talking just how big the club is, which I don't think is like that out of pocket.
No, I don't think it's that outrageous to say, but I think discrediting what they did before him is a little wild because they were still pretty huge prior to Messi's introduction to the scene. I think Messi certainly like blew them up in the modern era and kind of
Absolutely
helped build them to the super club status they are today.
Yeah. And my last topic was going back to the World Cup, actually. So now that the USA has like a joint bid with Canada and Mexico, I feel like that's just every World Cup from now on is going to be a joint bid. Just how it is. I think in 2030 we have England, Scotland doing one, as well as Greece, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt are going to rumored to put one in. Greece is hesitant about it. Saudi Arabia offered to build every single stadium in their country if they would join the bid. And I already am getting ominous feelings that this is going to be the destiny in 2030.
Yeah, that's what it feels like, especially with Ronaldo playing there now. They're going to use him as an ambassador of football for Saudi Arabia in 2030. You know for a fact that Egypt is going to have Salah be an ambassador of football for them to host a World Cup. And then Greece is just kind of like along for the ride. Yeah, it feels likely. Qatar was so good, but the stuff around it wasn't. So that's kind of why I'm a little weird about Saudi Arabia hosting it.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be there, really, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's just all the controversy and stuff that surrounds the country as a whole makes it difficult for me to totally get behind this.
I love a Greece World Cup. That would be so cool. Greece and Egypt would be a nice. That'd be a nice spot to visit for the World Cup. That was the outside the bounds topic. I'm down to do a quick little just like rehash of the past week.
I've got one for out of bounds that we briefly mentioned but didn't really get a chance to touch on, and that was the new proposal for the European Super League.
Yeah.
Yes.
60 to 80 teams, multiple divisions, no permanent members, and a minimum of 14 games per club per season.
Imagine playing 79 games in a year. 79 if you play every single match of every single competition you're eligible for.
Mitch, we get it. Liverpool did it once. Relax.
Fuck that.
My 2 cents on this is like, I don't like it. I don't want it to happen, but it's better than how they tried it the first time. So this one feels more likely than the other one to actually happen.
The devs really listen to the player base.
Yeah, the devs really listen to the player feedback, and we're getting a Super League 2.0 patch.
It sucks. I mean, Pat said, yeah, it is better than the last time, but like, they're basically just proposing the European format that we currently have, just with a little bit more games. Like, we already have the Champions League, Europa League, and Conference League.
And the Conference
What is
League,
different? Yeah. So it's like you just propose the old format. I don't know. The Champions League is obviously doing something new. It's going to be a weird new format here in a couple years. It's whatever. It's all based in greed. I'm not saying UEFA's any better, but I don't need fucking Real Madrid and Barcelona being at the front of this. We have to remember that they need us as Premier League fans more than we need them. That's why they're trying to do this. People, young kids especially, on Twitter, the ones I always complain about, they're the ones that are going to start getting behind this because they want something different and new. And go with the Champions League, the allure. You'll never beat it. You'll never beat it.
I can't tell you. I know it's playing FIFA, whatever, but I can't tell you a more genuinely happy reaction than when I packed my first ever Champions League card and you hear the Champions League walkout music for your own shit on a game. I can't imagine what it's like for somebody to realize that the Champions League is the only option. The only option. I don't get why it's even a thought. They're taking 2 fistfuls of shit, right? It's one person, one entity fighting itself. Let's keep throwing piles of shit at the crowd and see which one sticks harder.
Yeah. I really genuinely do like despise Real Madrid and Barcelona too, so I just could not be more against this.
Yeah, I don't love it. I appreciate them going back to the drawing board and trying to be more inclusive with it, to like fight it. Clearly it's them trying to like fight the whole like it's bad for grassroots football, it doesn't include enough teams, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. But like ultimately, like Mitch said, we don't need 14 more games. We don't need the possibility of almost 80 games in like a regular club season. Like, it's not good for the players. I think it'd just be burnout for the fans. No one needs to see those, every single time. Like, it takes away from like watching that Champions League draw and being like, oh shit, it's PSG Real Madrid this round. It's going to be sick. It's like, oh, it's just the fucking 8th time we've seen this because they're in the same Super League group,
Or you miss out on your share of upsets in the opening match.
Right. Yeah. It's just it doesn't need to happen. It just doesn't need to happen.
As if we need 14 games to really tell if Real Madrid is better than Sheriff Tiraspol.
Yeah, exactly. It's unnecessary. We don't need to play the 6 games home and away between any of these guys. It's unnecessary. It's bad for the players. I don't like it. I don't like it. None of us like it. The main stand is against the European Super League. Fuck all that noise.
Yeah, I sign on that. Just quick hitters again. We're already pretty deep in the ep here, but just some recap on last week. Harry Kane, top scorer for Spurs, did it against Man City in a big win. So that was kind of a double whammy for you, Pat, losing to Spurs, which I think you were expecting. You did call it. Anything to add there?
We looked fucking terrible.
Yeah, it
We
wasn't great.
looked
It wasn't a great
fucking
game.
bad, dude. That was a stinky ass game. It was a tough watch. Bad performance.
Yeah.
Scabby Harry Kane goal. That's all I got to say. Fun fact: guess the common denominator for every single game we've dropped points this season. Guess who started?
Grealish.
Bernardo Silva.
Oof.
A man you've stuck behind diligently.
A guy I love
Never
a whole
puts
lot.
in a foot the wrong way.
That last year, that was true.
I think that was true last week for you.
Did I say that last? Somebody check the tapes. Tell me if I said that last
we'll
week.
wind it back.
I know it for sure was a last year take.
Well, yeah, he was fucking brilliant last year. He wants to leave, man. He's playing like a guy who does not want to be here.
Speaking of midfields who don't want to be here.
Yeah, I mean, quick, I don't even want to talk about it. I mean, Liverpool, yeah, got beat by Wolves 3-0. For the people who say it's our midfield or it's Henderson or whatever, we could start whatever fucking midfield combination you want and we would lose. We are just shit right now, and it's not the midfielders. It's just everyone.
I promise you, fucking LeBron is making Space Jam 3, but it's a soccer movie right now. And all of the players' skills have been stolen. I don't know. I can't look to a single person to put in a clean tackle when it's needed, a clean interception when it's needed, a solid pass when it's needed. And Harvey Elliott's the only one that scored a fucking goal for us in the last 2 months. So there's no production up top either. We're riddled with injuries. We've had too much rotation, too much change.
I'm tired of people saying Mane is the reason of our downfall, too. If I hear one more person say that. If we had Luis Diaz, who we haven't had for all but 3 games this year, he does the exact same thing as Mane. He leads the press. He can dribble inside. He can give the ball off to Salah and take the pressure off. Injuries have plagued us up front. We have Jota back. Van Dijk's back in training. Firmino's back in training. So who knows? Maybe we'll go into Madrid and pull off a crazy upset. I'm hoping it. I'm hoping we win the Champions League and finish in 8th place and we still make it for next year. Sign Jude and all is well.
Makes me want to throw up thinking that's the path that we need. That's the path we want.
I have 2 questions for you guys. One of them is a lot less heavy than the other. Both of them suck. Top 4. Any hope of top 4 this year for you guys, or absolutely chalked?
I'm not going to say absolutely chalked because I thought it was absolutely chalked last year and we came back. I thought the league was chalked last year and we came back from a crazy deficit. It's pretty slim, but I wouldn't say fully out.
What say you?
I'm on my hands and knees praying for Europa League.
All right. Next one. This is the heavier one. And it kind of segues into the preview for the Merseyside derby on Monday. If you guys lose to Everton, could Klopp get sacked?
No, Klopp could lose every game this season. He wouldn't get sacked because Bill Shankly went 7 years without a trophy. 7 years, and Liverpool fans stuck behind him. Our best manager ever. They should do the same with Klopp.
You don't think with the fickleness of modern day football and everything that's kind of surrounding these top managers, the pressure to win, the not Chelsea model that's being imposed on clubs, but just kind of like the way in which Chelsea are doing things and a lot of clubs are doing things now. You don't think there's a little bit of added pressure on Klopp to perform? And you think he could lose this game to Everton and all would be well still?
Yeah. I mean, I would get rid of Mo Salah, Van Dijk, Alisson before I got rid of Klopp. If you look at too, I don't think there's any threat of him getting sacked because it took a fried chicken and beer party for John Henry to get rid of Terry Francona back in the day. He's usually pretty, faithful with man. Alex Cora cheated and he brought him back. I mean, when you're talking about John Henry, he's not the most trigger happy person when it comes to firing people. So
no, he's trigger happy at getting rid of people.
He won't never get rid of Klopp, I don't think.
Players.
Yeah, players, sure.
I was just curious where you guys stood on that, and
I mean, it hasn't even crossed my mind. I mean, I'm more leaning towards burning books than I am getting rid of Klopp. Um, if I want to lean on something to get frustrated with, I guess we'll try the book now because nothing else has worked at this point. I don't know, man. I think we're too confused. I think just every day for the last week, the only shit I've seen from our club is one post about a loss, and then just fist fucking the LeBron James merch down our throats, and it feels so disingenuous to be where we are as a club right now, and we're focusing on LeBron James, who just became the all-time points leader. Like, I get it. It's a great achievement. He's a part owner of our club, and we're putting out a great merchandise line. Maybe it's going to fund June Bellingham. If that's how we're cooking our books, great. Buy the fucking kits. But it's the last thing I want to be focused on if I'm a Liverpool fan right now. I want to see our club being the Liverpool of 2018-19. And it's so frustrating having this talent just go to waste. Everybody forgetting, it seems like, how to play fucking football.
We'll see. I don't know. I'm less frustrated by the LeBron stuff. Obviously that was a timed release with the waiting for him to break the record, so it's like it's just unfortunate that that's when it had to happen. But it's whatever. I mean, you have to post something on social media. I get it.
I get it, but it's just fucking. It's the last thing I want to see when we're getting kicked in the balls by lower mid-table teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough right now, but yeah, to answer Pat's question, no on Klopp. I mean, we'll ride it out. I'm fully confident. I don't know if we're gonna win though against Everton, against Dyche. I mean, come on.
No. New manager
Dyche
bounce.
New manager bounce, and Dyche is like Klopp's kryptonite. I mean, he's talk about someone who can get in Klopp's head.
There's no confidence in me anymore until I'm shown something other than 8-1 to a team that's getting relegated. It's hard to watch. Hard to watch.
Could be worse. At one point, not too many years ago, it was 6-1 against Stoke. So,
fuck, Josh. I was talking to my buddy Drew that I went to college with today, and it's like I feel like I was seeing better offensive buildup out of Rodgers 3-4-3. Like, seriously. It's so hard to watch.
We'll get there. The main stand will live another week. Season 2, episode 25. I think that does it for the boys.
Airing the grievances.
Rest in peace to Jesse Marsh, too. We'll see you in U.S. men's national team camp in a couple of months.
I'm wearing my Leeds kit.
Come to Minnesota United. Take over the Loons.
Nah, we need him at the U.S. men's national team. We need him.
Genuinely. Yeah, I think that's an episode, though. I'm ready for you all to cook me on social media about the city stuff. So
cook the blue.
I welcome it. If you can actually piss me off, I'll give you a sticker.
Emmanuel Reynoso, if you're listening to this, please come back. I'll let you pistol whip me.
Okay. Episode 25.
That's the main stand. Getting the fuck out of here.